love can pardon even our shortcomings. This is so true. An individual might even be blind, but because that individual is in a group that is bound by love, that individual that was blind can actually see, because you can see through the eyes of other people. If we understand that we are bound by the same love, the same destiny, the same identity, the same people, then those individuals who should be sleeping under the bridge might soon find a place to sleep, because we are a people. My mother would say, "Obehi Ewanfoh." Let me repeat that again. Obehi Ewanfoh, meaning the only thing that cannot be shared with the people is the only thing that cannot be splitted. Growing up, we were very poor, very, very poor. Some of the poorest in our village. But there was love among us. In a community like the African Diaspora, we can survive it. We can even thrive so much if we learn to love ourselves. If we understand that we are a people, not just individual. As an individual, you might actually not go very far. But as a people, we can go very far. We can go anywhere. Now, do I need to remind us that this is more like a kind of reenacting the idea of Pan-Africanism? Because those were the founding principle, that we are going to the same place. We are one people. We have a collective destiny. That is why the idea was so important. It wasn't because, I am the smartest. I am the strongest. No, it was because of us, all of us. Because all of us can do anything. There is nothing that is bigger than all of us. But any one of us can be worthless. But you see, I like what you were saying, Dr. Marcia, there, that love can pardon even our shortcomings. This is so true. An individual might even be blind, but because that individual is in a group that is bound by love, that individual that was blind can actually see, because you can see through the eyes of other people. I think those are really rudimentary. Those are fundamentally important for us to understand. That as we are talking of the African diaspora community, we will come to see this play out in a practical way. That among the African diaspora community, there are some individuals who might be very smart, who might be really well to do in terms of being able to carry some other people on their shoulder. But we have some individuals who do not know their left from their right. What do we do now? If we understand that we are bound by the same love, the same destiny, the same identity, the same people, then those individuals who should be sleeping under the bridge might soon find a place to sleep, because we are a people. And as a people, we can find a way. We can find, my mother would say, Obehi Ewanfoh. Let me repeat that again. Obehi Ewanfoh, meaning the only thing that cannot be shared with the people is the only thing that cannot be splitted. She usually would say this when there is food and maybe the food is not big, because I am not coming from a very rich family. Okay, today we are well to do. But growing up, we were very poor, very, very poor. Some of the poorest in our village. But there was love among us. So my mother would say, maybe there is a piece of yam that maybe one of us is holding, or maybe she herself is holding. Even though it was small, she would cut it again and give to another one of us. Then she would make mention of that word again. The only thing that you cannot share is the only thing that you cannot split. Now, can you see how she's even passing on the message to us? She's not just talking about it in an abstract form. She's talking about it in picture because we can see it. We have ate the yam, so we could understand what she means. We don't find it difficult to understand that because it's evident. In a community like the African diaspora, we can survive it. We can even thrive so much if we learn to love ourselves. If we understand that we are a people, not just individual. As an individual, you might actually not go very far. But as a people, we can go very far. We can go anywhere. Hello and thank you for checking out this video. I'm Obehi Ewanfoh, the host of the African Diaspora Storytelling Series. Every 2 weeks we meet up on LinkedIn to talk about different ways we can leverage the power of storytelling as people of African descent. Now this is it. We are uniting the millions of Africans in the diaspora through the power of our story. It does sound like what you are interested in. Make sure to subscribe to this channel and share this video with your friends who might need it. Now, back to today's conversation. All right, now I pass the mic to Arthur John. Arthur John, please share with us.
Thank you, Obehi. The stories so far have been amazing. I am Arthur Jones. I'm based in Tucson, Arizona, the southwestern part of the United States. And my business practice uses a story-driven approach to nurturing values, humanizing professional brands and businesses. It's all about nurturing human skills, what previously we may have called soft skills, that now we've determined are the skills that make us all successful in business and in our personal lives. And I think one of the credos, I guess, in my business practice comes from one of the most successful venture capitalists in Silicon Valley here in the US. The VC firm is called Andreessen Horowitz. Ben Horowitz is half of that venture capitalist firm, and they listen to pitches from business people seeking money every day. They're the early investors in companies like Facebook and Google and Amazon, so they have no worries about money, so they have lots to give away. But Ben Horowitz says something I truly believe. He says that in listening to all of these pitches, that he's determined that the mistake people make is thinking the story is just about marketing. He says, no, the story is the strategy. When he's listening to an entrepreneur make a pitch, he's listening to the entrepreneur's truth. What values come through the stories that that person tells. And he knows that if he's going to give money to that entrepreneur, it's going to be because they have a really compelling story based on sound values with grit and commitment to use that money wisely and make that business grow. Ben Horowitz believes if you make your story better, you make your strategy better. And I think coming to the African diaspora through storytelling, that quote from Ben Horowitz really resonates with me because as an African American, I represent the intention of that word diaspora. Diaspora comes from a Greek word that means to scatter about. Well, through that middle passage in a ship, my forefathers came across the Atlantic and landed here in this North American country that we now call the US, I was cut off from a history that now through DNA I know is largely from Nigeria, some Ghana, and the Congo. I didn't know that as a young man. I didn't know that when I was in high school. I learned those things in recent history when we started using a cotton swab inside of my mouth. I send it to a company and they come back and say, well, here's your DNA. This is from where you come. My story is my strategy. And if we deconstruct that thing that Ben Horowitz says, if your story is your strategy, and strategy is defined as the art of planning the best way to achieve success.